Trimming the bottom one-third of your plants. It is the most popular video from our channel with over 1.5 million views. But do you actually know why to trim it? What if you are growing outdoors or maybe indoor? So, in this video, we'll dive into the mindset of trimming the bottom one-third of your plants. We got our $2.99 membership, and we have a VIP if you need a little more one-on-one. Link down in the description.
So the mindset of clearing the bottom one-third, and see, I actually also have a belief structure that comes from an old world thought process that I keep encouraging, although even now as I think about it, I probably should re-examine it. And basically, powdery mildew and botrytis start in the soil. They don't start on the leaves. And people started trimming the bottom one-third of each plant in general. Why I also picked up the habit and encouraged it for it and still do at times is because I always thought the powdery mildew and botrytis started on the plant for years. And I realized and learned over now spending tens of thousands of dollars in lab testing and experiments with minerals and other products, I've learned and realized that the powdery mildew and botrytis start in the soil, not in the plant. Yes, of course, if you have the perfect environment for powdery mildew and mold to start, we're experiencing some very interesting experiments right now with the drops balance out. When you treat the soil with a higher concentration of minerals, that it seems to be holding off powdery mildew and botrytis altogether. There still is a couple weeks of growing left. You obviously got to finish the grow completely before you can say something like that. But the humidity environment's like super high humidity. At the same time, the control group that wasn't receiving the minerals in the experiment, 25% of the crop already had mold. So point is, the trimming that bottom one-third comes from a practice of a theory that we're discovering to be not valid anymore around mold, right? So if it's not valid, then why then are we doing it? Well, the next thought process is because of light and indoor light and not having the penetration of the light with the LEDs because they're weaker, or the HID light. So you trim them up so that you have a larger cola. And also these practices came from back in the day, people wanting the big nugs for flour for smoking. Although it was a bag of pill situation, it wasn't it was a cosmetic situation. It wasn't a growing technical situation where it actually improved their yield, because what we've come to discover and realize now is that the top colas is only about 20% of your yield. 80% of your yield is actually in the bottom two-thirds of your plant. So it leads to us to realize, should we even be trimming the third of the plant? Which I think is incredibly important, because when you really think about that, when the bottom one-third of your crop, especially if you do a multi-harvest, the bottom two-thirds of your crop, I apologize, is where most of your yield's at, would you even want to do that? And we do this practice indoor because of trying to control a mold problem, of the theory that it was because of the humidity and it started on your leaves, but now we're discovering that it's actually starts in your soil. So that's for indoor. For outdoor, because of how strong the light is, you shouldn't, for over the years in workload, like I've already discussed, it's just not worth trimming the bottom one-third, because the power of the sun is just so immense. So then it really just comes into ensuring what your original concern is powdery mildew and botrytis. And the procedure for stopping the powdery mildew or really holding it back is you're going to want to treat your soil with 5 mLs per gallon of drops of balance over a course of 2 times, maybe 3. So you'll do your watering with the EM1, the drops of balance at a ratio of 5 mLs per gallon, and you'll end up doing that 2 to 3 times per pot. And that should, what we've been discovering, stop the powdery mildew and botrytis from starting whatsoever. Like I said, that's what our clinical trials are pointing out to us right now, and we'll know definitively how much powdery mildew and botrytis these different control groups are going to have in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Watch this video to know more about the experiment we are doing with drops of balance.
What we have found so far is that drops of balance, there's an interaction at play there that helps the plants not absorb the heavy metals that are in the soil.